You know, when Deepak started the session today, the way he was talking about digital transformation, I was actually getting pretty nervous because I thought he was going to steal my thunder because a lot of topics that I am going to cover, he will cover. So I will try and do my level best to probably enlighten you with some of my thoughts and maybe probably a lot of takeaways for you to take home. You know, a couple of weeks back, I was reading a research report, and it said that 20% of data globally is generated in India, but only 3% of that data is hosted in India. So India is the data source, but it is not the data infrastructure for the world. If you look at AI as a topic, I think we're going to speak a lot about AI during today's multiple sessions with some great speakers and panelists. Problem is we are adapters, we are not creators. If you look at industrial revolutions, right from steam engine through electricity and then ERPs and technology and move, India is known to jump evolutions. We never went into mainframes, we directly jumped onto mini computers and then into client server technology, right? So India is known to jump evolutions, but we always had time in all previous industrial revolutions. This time, in the current extended fourth industrial revolution and the onslaught of AI, I don't think we have enough time to adapt and keep moving forward. I'm not saying this that India is lagging behind the world, because we don't have our sovereign LLMs yet, like we have to rely on, or US says that I can't allow anyone outside of US to use some of the models like a Fable and Mythos and Anthropic. So we have a dependency on them, but I believe it's not about what we are lagging behind, but it's about the potential and the opportunity for all of us together we have. And the way Pawan Dukkalji and Savitur spoke about India and what we need to do, I think there is a phenomenal opportunity for private sector to work with the government and have a strong public-private collaboration to build on this. You know, if you meet someone at the airport or in office and you speak about what are the current emerging trends, you will hear different words, right? You will hear someone will talk about semiconductor industry, someone will talk about AI, someone will say about advanced analytics, someone will come and talk about a data center and cloud infrastructure, cyber security, quantum computing. A lot of these words you will hear from them. What I'm trying to say is these are not really separate, isolated, segregated different trends, but this is one full stack is how I look at it. It's one single way that everything comes together. So if you see, starting at the fundamental foundation is our compute layer. We spoke of data centers, how we host the very little of it, of the data that we generate. But the way government is pushing through promoting, incentivizing semiconductor industry, data centers, unless we have that foundation, none of the other three layers will work. To top it up, cyber security, and we'll talk a little more about industrial revolution, industry 4.0 and what it means from a cyber, what it means from an AI standpoint shortly. But the second layer is essentially cyber. We need that foundation, but we need something to protect it. So all of the trends, and especially PQC as a common term I hear these days about post-quantum computing, what that means from a cyber standpoint. So that's the second layer. And then we have the intelligence layer. And this is not just about AI. It is about automation, including industrial automation, manufacturing automation. It is about advanced analytics. All of them put together is the next trend, which is intelligence layer. And we have spoken enough, Deepak has spoken enough about the trust. That's the fourth layer. And we'll talk about in next 10 minutes about all these layers together. The idea is don't look at all of these trends in isolation. They are one single trend. You call it digital technology plus plus, or you call it whatever else, but essentially it's a single stack. Let's take one after another some of these stacks. If you look at semiconductor industry, we have initiated, government has spent a lot of effort. They are promoting the manufacturing ecosystem that we need in India. 28 nanometers, we are already working on manufacturing, but which is 28 nanometers essentially is used in automotives and number of different industries. But the core from an AI chip standpoint, the whole 2 nanometers, while we don't have a manufacturing ability yet, we have a very phenomenal engineering talent in India, and that talent is what is actually designing those global 2 nanometer chips from India. So, semiconductor, government's push, data centers the next one, while we speak of building up about a couple gigawatt kind of capacity for us to run, but unless we start having sovereign companies building up our local data centers to house our own information rather than pushing it outside, I think we will not be able to run the future layers of intelligence and trust and security. Energy, all I am saying is we need to balance all these investments in energy and data centers. How can we do it in a sustainable way? There is a strong push. We spoke of renewable energy as something coming in, but this compute layer, I believe, is the primary base for public-private collaboration. Government can only do so much to incentivize all of us, but it's up to all of us as private corporates to actually not only adapt it, but actually take it forward and work very closely with governments. All my esteemed speakers prior me spoke about how public-private collaboration is a necessity for this country to move forward. So, compute layer, I think I will urge all of you, a lot of companies in India have started getting into the data center business, the energy business, the cloud infrastructure business, and I am hoping we do the similar for semiconductor industry. The next layer is the security layer, and while we speak of security with AI, there are quite a few things that are happened. One is, if you see so-called perimeter, there is no longer a perimeter, it's all dissolved, it's all one hybrid cloud for all of us. And the whole push on Industry 4.0 has actually exposed and widened the attack surface. That's one which is very, very critical to know. Second, I am not sure how many of you know, but one of the research paper has publicly commented that bots and agent traffic on internet has surpassed human traffic on internet. What that means is, the way bots, and they are saying even from bots, AI agents will surpass that really shortly, don't have to wait till 2030, but essentially 2027 itself, AI agents will surpass their traffic on internet than what we have, which we all of us do in terms of surfing and working on different corporate platforms. That adds AI-based malwares, and you know my thoughts and what has it has opened up. The whole aspect of identifying vulnerabilities in the legacy platforms. Digital emerging platforms are there, we can manage, but legacy platforms and a fundamental data security layer, the simple processes like a patch management, I think will need a significant refresh. And the whole governance that we need to put together from a security standpoint. Quantum, while everyone thinks it's far away, if you see some of the research, some of the prototypes, some of the work that Google's and other big 7 companies, as we call in the US, have come up with, it's not so far away. And one theme which I continuously hear from people is harvest now, decrypt later. Very, very critical, they are just capturing and storing all the encrypted data. And when in post-quantum cryptography, they will have a very easy way to decrypt it and create havoc for us. So, essentially AI as an offense plus everything that we are doing from a manufacturing standpoint just simply makes cybersecurity is one of the most important stack, and I am sure some of the sessions we have later planned today will cover and address that also in greater detail. Third layer is intelligence layer, about AI, about automation, about analytics and host of things that come with it. I am sure all of us have done fair bit of POCs in our corporate organizations. Have we really scaled it at an industry level? Are we really running the complete consumer company doing a complete demand forecasting using AI? The answer is it's still not there yet. But India has a very, very unique advantage. We have GCCs, 2000 plus GCCs. All the global design, development, everything happens in India, and we have one of the strongest and largest AI talent pool in the country. So, while we are adapters, we are not creators. That adapting to AI and industrializing the whole POCs into large scale corporate implementations, helping with the governments. And if you see UPI as a story, is a great success story for the country. if you see the quick commerce and how they have adopted AI, a lot of those things we have in us. We can really work together and build on it as a complete intelligence and take it to the global scale, not just from an India standpoint. So, I think this is one layer I believe is extremely critical for us to focus on. But if you just see the statistics on the slide, $600 million is the VC funding for startups in India as compared to a 200x, 120 billion that US does. I think we as a country have a lot of work to do to allow people to innovate, build up our fundings and investments into startups who can actually help us build more models. There is a journey that we want to build our own sovereign LLM of our own from the country standpoint. But again, coming back to the public, private, government can incentivize you, government can support you, they can come up with guidelines, but it's up to us as corporates, private sector to actually use that, adapt it and take country to the next league. Trust layer, one of the most important top layer in that whole stack that we spoke about. Now, there are two key things. I am sure you all know about a public incident which was put up in the public about someone using Replit to build software developments and portals. And that agent that they built actually ignored the commands from the human and wiped out the whole production data. It doesn't stop there. It actually has gone beyond and lied and fabricated test data to show that everything is working fine. It was all fabricated or synthetic data that we call it these days. The reason I am giving this example is, how do we scale at industry level all the AI investments and use cases, but keep the risk, trust, governance in check, while on the second side we have frontier AI where models are evolving so rapidly. And honestly, I read a couple of blogs, one email a day about what's happening in the AI world, and I am not able to keep pace with it. It is really phenomenal amount of movements, evolution that's happening. But while that evolution happens, unless we build a trust into that by using responsible AI principles, I mean, you can talk of fairness, you can talk of bias, you can talk of explainability. Can I really find out, or will AI give me why it took a certain decision and what was the basis for that? Auditability, transparency, security, performance. There are many such parameters that we have to embed as part of the responsible AI journey. At the same time, as the evolution is happening, and one of the things which honestly scares me is 2-3 weeks back, Anthropic released a paper that its Claude code is written by Claude itself and it's improving on its own. So, while that happens, how do we put those human checks in there? How do we ensure that whatever is being used for your organization is well controlled, tested from a data standpoint, and deployed accordingly with the trust principles in mind? So, very, very critical, and I am sure we will have some sessions going forward about the whole trust area, responsible AI topics. So, a lot of these topics we have discussed. I actually just picked it up, and I am so happy to see that Deepak has set up several sessions during the day which will address almost each and every of this topic. What I want honestly you to do is, this is okay. It's a Friday, we go back, we'll spend a good weekend at home. But when you come back to your office on Monday, I would like you to start these minimum 4 things. The first one essentially is getting to know what is the infra, what is the compute that we need over next 2 to 3 years, and what are we doing about it, and ensuring that we have a full visibility on it. You know, I keep hearing almost every week about the excess cost that models and tokens that we are consuming and it's coming in. How do we manage that? That's one thing I think you should definitely initiate. Second is, see, it's never about the model. If model doesn't work, or it fails, or it doesn't give you correct, accurate data, it hallucinates. It's always about the data that is fed into the model. So, please do a data readiness check and ensure that before even you go ahead with any AI use case, focus on what is the data that is going to be leveraged to train and manage that particular agent for us. Third thing, we always maintain a fair bit of inventories of our software, hardware, fixed assets, enterprise assets, manufacturing assets, lab equipments, etc. we rarely create an inventory of our cryptography that we use, the encryptions that we use. It's important for us to start building that inventory as well, so that in the post-quantum computing world, when we have to do something, we will at least have a visibility. I'm not sure how will we address it, but at least we will have that visibility with us. And finally, make sure that you can run a great, your chief digital officers, your CIOs, CISOs, CROs, CFOs, we all work on the AI use cases, but make sure AI supply chain and AI design, algorithm, performance and data risks are factored into that. Thank you so much. I hope I had, you picked up some threads from this, and wish you a very happy listening and great journey going forward.